Hello guys, welcome to the street market. On today's episode, I am going to be pushing myself and my 21-inch push mower. I'll get you the model information on stuff we get set up. But I'm going to be pushing it on one of my commercial lawns. It's a 4-acre property. About an acre of it is it's got slab on it. It's got the building. So realistically, we're only cutting about 3 acres. I've had to do this before. When one of my mowers went down, I had a Wright, I believe it was a 62-inch, if I remember correctly, and cut about half of it, and all of a sudden it started leaking oil, and I had to shut it down. But the whole purpose of this video really is to kind of see how this machine responds. And quite honestly, I ended up selling my zero turn last week, and I thought I was going to buy another one before this job, but I've just been tied up doing a couple of jobs. But we'll go ahead and set up. Once we get to the job site, I'll show you guys the overview, and then we'll go over the game plan and get started. So this is the site. So probably the property line's about maybe like 10 feet away from that fence line. Let's move up, and this is what it looks like. I sprayed some heavy Roundup in my rookie days. So that's why those bushes are kind of suffering, and it goes all the way out here. So we have quite a lot of work to do with the push mower. Hopefully the mower won't blow up. So let's go ahead and introduce you guys to the tools that we're going to be using today. So for the trim work, I'm going to be using Stihl's FS240R. I upgraded the trimmer head. This is nice. I think I've mentioned this in the previous video. It's a quick reload, where once you run out, you just feed it through, even it out, and then just turn it, and then it'll be able to reload real quicker. I upgraded the guard to the brush cutter. This one, the only thing with this one, it's really hard to see once you once you flip it, you make it perpendicular and try to hit those corners. But otherwise, it's a pretty good guard. We're going to be using Stihl's FC111 for the edging, the straight shaft. We'll go ahead and put a new blade in there too. That one's pretty good. But I always like to put brand new blades for these commercial yards. I am going to do a little bit of light trim work just to even that out. I'm going to be using Stihl's HL9-4. That's the longer version. And if we have time, I will be using the combi system, Stihl KM131R, the tiller, to go ahead and till that up a little bit. I'm going to see if I can try to sell them a mulching job. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my and so I left so for this game I benched Stihl's BR800 CE, and I put in the Echo PB8010H. So we're going to give this one a try. So big open area like this, I'm going to test out the blower, see how much quicker I can get this blowing done. So before I begin, I'm gonna turn on this blower, and I'm gonna go ahead and try to blow all this back into the lawn. We can try to mulch up as much as possible. All right, let's get started. All right, you gotta check this out. I'm really loving this blower. But for those of you who do this for a living, you know how annoying it is to blow wet leaves. And I mean, they didn't stand a chance with this blower. That was a quick process. I'm pretty impressed with that. All right, that part's done. That was a quick and painless process. I usually don't like blowing these commercial yards because, well, these parking lots, because they can take forever. But I can already tell that bringing Echo's blower was the right choice for this job, and I am going to continue to do so moving forward. All right, next up, I'm gonna go ahead and get started on this mowing, just because I'll get it out of the way. Or I might just start it once I get bored of walking around. I may do something else, edging, trimming. So for this job, we're gonna be using, let me see, the HRX 217 K6 VKA 21-inch push mower, self-propelled, with the GCV 200 Honda engine. This will be yard number 4. Here's a self-propel. I'm gonna go ahead and crank it up. I don't know why you would adjust this at all. We want to go as fast as possible, in my opinion. And we are going to mulch everything. Having a bag this long up would be a week-long process, probably. Let's see. So we'll go ahead and fill it up. I think right now we should be set up at 2.5. So I'm going to make the adjustments depending on how it cuts. I think I'm going to stick with 2.5. Cut it low. This lawn is full of weeds, as is the case with most commercials. So the weeds they took over the lawn. So the only thing we can really do is cut it low, open it up, and hopefully with the new growth, the grass takes over the lawn again. But this lawn, by the looks of it, it's probably gonna need a little bit of help. I should have overseeded in the fall. It's too late to do so now. So we'll probably mention that to the customer, that I should present him a plan. Overseed in the fall, and all we can really do from this point on is just fertilize, the weed and feed, the summer fertilizer. Obviously it might be a little bit too late for the pre-emergence, but a post-emergent will help out a little bit, and hopefully some of that good, pleasant grass comes back. Well, anyway, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and get started, and I will get back to you guys in possibly a few hours. So this is a very good test. So I made the adjustment to the number 2. I'll grab a measuring tape and I'll measure out what exactly it's cutting it at what length. So I'm gonna be pushing this machine pretty good. So basically what's going on right now, my machine is struggling right now because it's not its fault. It's we'll say the lawn is about 3.5, 4 inches. Looks like 6 inches in other spots, and so we're trying to cut it at 2 inches. So that's about 2/3. I think that is 2/3. And so you never want to cut anything past a third, otherwise you'll end up hurting the plant. That concept is true, but we have weeds here, so realistically we are trying to hurt these plants. We're trying to slow down their growth, and we're trying to, you can see a little bit of grass in there, we're trying to help our grass grow and eventually overrun these weeds out. So what I'm going to do here, because it's already turned off on me about 5-6 times, I'm going to do a technique that I like to use whenever I have overgrown yards. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to raise the front end to the 2.5 mark to kind of produce a shaping effect.
And so as the machine hovers over the lawn, you know, it's going to kind of shave it. So the blade's going to be a little bit at an angle. You don't want to do that too much. You don't want to, you know, consistently do that. Like I said, I usually use that technique for overgrown yards. But if you do decide to do that, make sure your blade's sharp, because that angle is going to, you know, it's going to affect your cut a little bit. So if it's a very sharp blade, then that's gonna help you out. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab my measuring tape and just kind of measure out the length to see what the 2.0 mark is. Looks like I missed a little spot right there, a little line. So it looks to be fairly accurate. So the 2 mark actually cuts at 2 inches, which is pretty impressive, because most residentials aren't built accurately, and usually they're, you know, a 2 might be a 3, a 3 might be a 4, and so on. So that surprised me. So our lawn is wet, so we're producing a lot of clogging. So that's also affecting our affecting our cut. All right, I just wanted to show you guys that real quick. I'm gonna go ahead and continue. So I wanted to point something out. Usually when you know, I do like this machine. I like the number of adjustments you can make on it. So you know about the adjustment I made at the very front. So I raised the deck, and that pretty much took care of 90% of the issue. So this machine has been turning off on me, yeah, since I last spoke to you guys. It probably turned off on me about 10 times. And so usually when you start getting to that point, I don't want to mess with my deck. I don't like the fact that one side's up and the other one's down. And so there's a 1/2 inch difference or an inch difference, and I don't want to make any more adjustments, because otherwise I'm basically just going to drag the blade over the grass. And I mean, it might still be effective actually, but I try to keep that difference between, you know, one setting. So instead of doing that, I'm going to try to not sacrifice speed, because what you can do, you can go slower, and you can give the machine a little more time to clip everything, to disintegrate everything. So instead of messing with that, what I ended up doing, every single time that it stops, you know, go ahead and make an adjustment. I originally had it over here under the mulch, basically close the chamber all the way up. And so these adjustments basically allow you to kind of control the opening, so that it allows you to control the chamber. And so what I'm doing right now, every single time that it turns off on me, I just adjust. I make the adjustments, you know, and hopefully, you know, it'll be somewhere here in between, where it allows me to keep the chamber as closed as possible. But that seems to be helping. So far, this is what I have. I do like the way it's been cutting. There's no real missing stragglers anywhere. There's one right there. But for the most part, it's a really good quality cut. If you're a homeowner, I can already tell this machine's perfect. Especially when you have leaves in the yard and you don't really want to rake them up. You don't want to bag them up. You want to just go ahead and disintegrate them, or you can, obviously you got your bagging system. You can do it like that. But there's enough power behind this machine to really get a good quality cut. I just want to point that out. I'm going to go ahead and continue. Oh, one last thing. Let's see the fuel consumption. So I had this at the very top, flush, and it looks like we're about halfway there. So I'll have to continue monitoring that. Last thing I want to do is get stranded out here with an empty tank. All right, guys, be careful out there. I just came out here and my deck lid, or my tailgate, was open. I don't know if someone tried to grab my tools or if I just left it open. I remember thinking about closing it, and I thought I closed it, but maybe I didn't. But whatever the case, always make sure you lock your stuff up. You never know. I'm almost done over there. Let me see. Let's see where we're at. So hopefully another 20 minutes, and I'm gonna stop, take a break, give that machine a break, go to lunch, and then we'll come back. I gotta recharge this phone as well. All right, all done with this first part. I'll show you guys when I get back from lunch. I got a bad habit of coming out here with no water, no lunch, but it's all right. It serves as a good break. All right, so now we're going to focus on this side, but actually before I do that, I'm gonna go in here because these guys they close around 4:30 in the afternoon. So just in case I take a little bit longer than expected, they can go ahead and close the gate, and then I could just focus on the outside. I'm gonna leave you guys connected here because I am low on battery. And but before I leave, I promise I'll walk around and I'll show you the cut. Overall, I'm pretty well pleased with the cut. No complaints here. All right, so I had to hurry up real quick. I had to finish up the inside, so I went ahead and mowed, trimmed, edged, and blowed the premises inside. So I'm just taking a quick break right now. All I got left is the center section out there. I already went around, did like 20 laps or so, and so it's just the inside that's left. I do want to add that this ain't the first time I've had to do this with the push mower, and I find that it's easier to just doing circles, because essentially your circles get smaller after each lap, and so it gives you the impression that you're moving along quicker, as opposed to just going up and down, up and down. And that's just my experience, at least. Perhaps you disagree. But anyway, let me finish taking this break. I'm gonna get back out there, and then we'll go through each individual step as far as the trim work, the edger, and blowing. All right. All right, so we're gonna wrap up the mowing. One note I do want to point out that I've always followed this concept with no matter what mower. That seems to be a pretty good general rule of thumb. So if you notice the line, I don't know if you can see it, kind of see that line. Normally what I try to do, I try to line up the inside of the tire or the wheel to that line, and I focus to get I really try to focus on staying right on that line. Obviously I'm paying attention to my front. I don't want to mow anything that I'm not supposed to be going over. So it's it's a constant shifting of attention and focus. But as a general rule, I found this to be very helpful, and it probably extends about the width of that wheel over. You could probably get away with following the outside edge too, but I like following the inside just because it gives you that 1.5 inches of playroom, from rolling an ankle or any kind of movement. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and continue, and I'll get back to you guys. All right, so with the exception, that little rest area right there, I'm pretty much done. So round of applause to my partner here, this 21-inch push mower, Honda. You can find these at Lowe's, possibly Home Depot, for about $619.99 is the retail price. Say hi to the bird. So, not surprised it lasted. I am surprised that if you notice how smooth it is out there, there's not too many clumps out there, which is often the case with some of these weaker mowers. So that means that this although I pushed this mower to the max, and we cut well over the 2/3 rule or the 1/3 rule, even with those factors, this machine was able to disintegrate and mulch up the clippings into a fine dust, and that's why you see the nice smooth cut. Those lines aren't, that's not a striping kit or anything, that's just from the wheels. I will add that this guy's got a plastic polyurethane or polypropylene, I forget the material, the plastic basically is the body. So the advantage to that, in my opinion, is that you don't have to worry about it corroding on you, any rust, and two, the weight. So it will take far more time to compact the ground as opposed to something heavier. So that's a big difference there. Overall, I'm pretty pleased with this machine. It's let's see. For this reason, when I bid jobs, I always like to think about worst case scenario. If I ever end up without a crew or without equipment, maybe equipment is down, maybe I'll have to go to Lowe's or Home Depot and buy a quick mower like this and get it done. So I always charge relatively high, but that's why for moments like today when I don't have the proper equipment. But so what I'm going to do over there is, you know, as we walk down there, we're going to make a small adjustment, because out there we actually have some healthy grass, but we have weeds. And so we're still going to follow the 1/3 rule over there, or I'm going to follow the 1/3 rule over there. But here's the thing, remember, if you cut over 1/3, you're going to end up harming the plant, because you're cutting closer to the root. And so if we use that knowledge, we could actually go ahead and help the lawn battle the weeds. So I got an example right here that we're coming up to. So if you notice, the majority of this lawn is healthy grass. We still got some dormant grass in there, so you know, it's still in the process of waking up. But if I just cut, you know, if I just cut right here, just as a 1/3 rule, I'll end up cutting, you know, 1/3 of these weeds as well, for the most part, maybe a little over. But that would be a desired effect for the weeds. So just like, you know, with grass, if you cut 1/3 of a weed, it's not going to harm it as much, and so it's going to regenerate and it's going to come back stronger. So what we want to do is, yes, we want to go ahead and apply the 1/3 rule to the lawn. And this time of year, when the lawn's still dormant, you can actually cut it a little bit lower, which that's what I'm going to end up doing. So I'm going to cut it just over the 1/3 rule, so that I cut more than half of the weed. And so I'm essentially going to hurt the lawn, but I'm doing it for the sole purpose of hurting these weeds. And so when the whole lawn regenerates, everything's going to come back stronger. The one that's going to, the plants are going to take longer, because I cut over 1/3 are these weeds, which is what we want. And as you know, as you continue the routine mowing process, your lawn is going to come back stronger, greener, grassier than, and you know, lushier than before. So that's the whole purpose of why I like to cut low early in the spring. It's not spring yet, but you know, early in the season. And that's what I'm going to do right now. And as we get towards the summer, I'll go ahead and raise my deck, and I usually cut my St. Augustine around 4 inches, so I cut it nice and tall. All right, so we'll go ahead and take care of that, and I'll get back to you guys. Oh, there you have it. Mowing is done. All left to do is trim, edge, and blow. I'm not sure if I'm gonna have enough time to trim those guys, but we'll see. So as you can see, let's see where the weeds at. So here's the weeds, and see, like all these lower ones, see how they're losing color? They were dying because their superiors were kind of were blocking their sunlight, and they were just kind of choking them out. So we're gonna do the same thing to the big ones, and that's where we cut it. And if you notice some of this St. Augustine, you see how it was relatively low, short, and so the cut didn't really affect it too much. See, most of this is thatch. You know, a lot of this is dormant still. So some of these blades looks like they were kind of ripped off. That's a sign. It's a good indication that the blade is starting to dull out, or understandably so. It's a pretty big project. So next, I'm gonna go ahead and bust out my 240, my string trimmer, and we're gonna go ahead and start the trim work. All right, almost done. Let's take this time to point out a few principles that I follow with the string trimmer. I got what I call a lead end. So the lead end, so when it spins that way, which would be counterclockwise. And so the lead would be right there as it makes contact with your target. And then this guy, I call it the trail end. It's already made contact, and so it's gonna sling or fling debris towards that direction. So, and it's important to understand that, because when you're making when I edge over here, like, I'm not gonna bring the edger. I'm just gonna edge it right here, because it's I usually follow that for backyards. You know, I'm not gonna walk all the way back there to edge what I could easily do with the string trimmer. So what I do, like if I'm coming into this, I'll go ahead and flip the string trimmer. I'll make contact with my lead edge towards that corner, and then I'll turn this way, and I'll do the same thing towards that corner. And then once that corner is prepped, I'll go ahead and start off right there. I'll go all the way down, and I'll stop right there at that corner. And same thing. I'll face the inside of that corner with my lead end. I'll get close to that corner and make that sharp cut, make that sharp corner. Then I'll get started once again, go all the way down, and then just repeat that process. I'll just repeat that process, and it's important to understand what your lead end is, your lead point of contact, because once you start getting into these areas, like right in there, you know, you'll want to, you know, as you're trimming, you'll have to flip your string trimmer accordingly to get in there and make as much contact with that corner as possible. If you do it the other way, remember the lead end, or the trail end will have already been pretty much, it'll already be coming out from underneath it, and so you won't make, you know, you'll have dirt or debris between your target and your string. So just a point, just a nice little pointer, nice little tip, that it's a small little detail, but it makes a huge difference. All right, I'm gonna finish up right here. So I gotta go all the way around, start at the far corner, come all the way down. I'll finish up where I started, and I'll put this guy up, and I'll grab the edger. All right, here we go. All right, now we're gonna edge. I forgot to mention, usually when I trim, if you're facing the building, I'm right-handed. I usually like to do my trim work, start on the right side, and I'll go all the way around, the building, and I'll just keep going all the way around until I get to the far left side. For edging, for whatever reason, I can't really explain it real savvy right now, but for whatever reason, I always start my edging on the opposite side. So I'll get on that curve over there, and I'll stay on the street as often as possible, and you know, I'll have the machine, the edger, on the curb, and then I'll just walk on down. and I'll go all the way down till I get to the other end. And for whatever reason, it just feels right that way. So I did want to point that out. So for this next process, I'm going to go ahead and start edging with a FC 111. Let me see. I know you see the FC 96 shaft, but it's not an actual 96. It's an FC 111. I just swapped out that straight shaft, and it's a straight shaft, which I just started using these this year, and so far I like the feel for them a lot better than the curve shaft, just because you can get into a lot tighter areas, and then, you know, whenever you have vehicles parked alongside the driveways all the way to the edge, you know, that curve shaft tends to struggle getting in those tight spots. So I'm gonna go ahead and start on that far right side if we're facing the building, and we'll get back. I'll get back to you. All right, so the same principle over here. You really only have the lead end, so I guess you can cut with the trail end if you walk backwards. But the same concept over here. You want to make that direct point of contact with your lead end going into these corners. Sometimes you may have to adjust your body to kind of cap off the corner. Let's go ahead and show you real quick. It's a lot easier to hold edger. Alright, you get the point. I'm going to pause this and finish up. Alright, so a great example right here. We got a vehicle right there. You know, a curb shaft's gonna struggle right here, but a straight shaft is gonna fit right in there. Look, that's the benefit of having a straight shaft. So here's a good example of what I was talking about. So with my lead in, I went all the way to that corner, and now I'm going to flip my body. I'm going to meet that corner. Now it's ready to go on down. You get that nice sharp corner, which we'll take a look once we blow. Edging is done. Now we are going to blow and go. So I'm not really sure if I'm gonna skip this step right here or not. I think I am. I'm gonna go ahead and send these customers an email and ask them if they would like to mulch and get these taken care of. Get some more work out of them. So let me walk over there, grab my blower, set up shop, and we'll wrap up this job. Notice the wind? We don't fight the wind. We don't fight Mother Nature. We go along with her. See how far it goes when we harness that wind? Back here, stud! Let me slow that down. Just like over there, on the other side, it's a smooth cut. You know, keep in mind these machines, They're not supposed to be cutting over an acre, but we pushed her to the max. Big props to Honda. I mean, they make any Honda engine on a mower is a good mower, in my opinion. I've bought all kinds of Honda engines, Craftsman, Troy Built. I'm trying to think of what else. Of course, Honda, and I've never had any issues with them. They usually last a long time. Briggs and Stratton, that's another story. Kohler's a pretty good engine as well, but in general, on the residential side at least, the Honda engine is the way to go. On the commercial side, I've always liked Kawasaki. Kohler's been pretty good too, I won't lie. Let me finish up over here. I wanted to show you this gorgeous view. The sun just came out. Beautiful. We're expecting rain in the next week or so, maybe a couple weeks, floating around 40, 50%. It's going to be overcast, but all this rain is going to really help regenerate everything. It's going to wake this grass up, and we'll have a good season kicking off for us. All right, gents, we finally hit the finish line. Last minute details. Pull that guy out. Throw it in the back of the truck. Alright, so we're done. So this is why I used that lead edge method. Kind of nice and sharp that looks. Let's see. Wind's still blowing. So, the biggest takeaway from this, as far as like the difference in tool upgrade, is that bad boy right there. So, I'm usually a little lazier when I'm using the blower. That's because it's a lot of work for one person, but combine that guy with Mother Nature, and I mean it's a quick process. I'm pretty happy about that upgrade. I know I'll be bringing Echo's PB 8010 with me from now on for this job. Obviously, if I have a second additional person, we'll bring the other one, the BR 800. The BR 800, I like to use it basically for flower beds. And I like using it in residential areas because I can always turn it off when I gotta talk to somebody. And after I'm done chatting, I can just turn it back on and continue working. But this is my project. That little push mower did the majority of this work. So, you know, don't ever think it can't be done. There's a will, there's a way. 4 acres, about 3 acres worth of lawn. It has been done. This is the second time I've done this. It's a lot of work, but it can be done. For all you landscapers out there starting out, you know, we all start somewhere, and you know, every now and then we get lucky and we get a job like this that allows us to invest in bigger and better tools. So hopefully next time I won't be out here with the push mower. Hopefully I'll be out here with another zero turn, and I'll be able to take care of this for the remainder of the season without any delays. As always, guys, appreciate and gals too, appreciate the views. Thanks for watching today. Subscribe, comment below if you have any tips, you have anything that I missed, perhaps I said something wrong, maybe you need to correct me. Go ahead and drop a comment below. And you know, let's help make this community more educated on this stuff. Appreciate it. Take it easy.